At the time I make this video, we're about 1 week before the release of Thor Part 4, also known as Love and Thunder. And as you know, Natalie Portman, who plays Jane Foster, has been upgraded to Lady Thor. If you have no idea what's going on and you need this explained, then you came to the right place. Let's get into it. Welcome to Comic Power. My name is Comic Killer 72, and welcome to another episode of The Quick Flip. This is the program where I go over comic book industry news in a short period of time. All right, let's get right into it. First off, those of you who are saying that Natalie Portman's upgrade is some type of virtue signaling or wokeness or Mary Sueing or some other nonsensical catchphrase, this isn't some adaptation that Disney forced Marvel to do. This is actually coming out of the comics. So Thor #1 reboot from 2014, this is the cover. This is where this comes from. So all of you who are upset about diversity and said that Marvel should stick to the comics and don't change them for the movies but just adapt them, well, dude, this is directly from the comics. This is what they're adapting. Maybe you might want to start reading some of the comics. I mean, I offer a Wicked Wednesday new comic report every week. I put it in the community tab. It comes out every Monday or Tuesday. You might want to check that out. All right, now moving along. So what's going on in Thor #1 back in 2014 in the first place? Well, it's like this. Because comics, Thor, Odin's son, is no longer worthy and cannot lift the hammer. And he's pretty distraught about it. He tries and tries, but it's just not going his way. So the hammer's on the moon. Don't worry about why it got there. Thor and no one else can seem to lift this thing. Frost giants have showed up to invade the Earth, and then out of nowhere, some mystery woman comes and she is able to lift the hammer. And she yields the power of Thor, God of Thunder, you know, the whole thing. And at the time, Marvel was not telling anyone who this was. This issue after issue went by. So for about 7 months, Marvel did not reveal who this was, and it was the best-selling Thor title in over 20 years. There was a rumor floating around back then that it was Daisy Johnson, who was the character Quake on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was played by Chloe Bennet in live action, but that turned out not to be true. We finally got the reveal in Thor issue #8 in spring of 2015, and it turned out to be Jane Foster. The backstory on this made this even more incredible because the Jane Foster character had been diagnosed with cancer. So in her mortal form, she was cancer stricken and her days were numbered. But she picks up the hammer and she's worthy and she's kicking ass as Lady Thor. This was the brainchild of Jason Aaron, who I named the best living writer in comics today. In a video I made called The Top 10 Writers in Comics, I'll put a link in the description. He's a 2-time Eisner winner and he's extremely busy. He's done Thor, he's done Doctor Strange, he's done Wolverine, The Punisher, Conan, The Avengers. His Eisner wins were for Southern Bastards, an indie from Image Comics. The story of a middle-aged man who returns to his small hometown over 3 decades later, and his town has been corrupted with crime. And the crime boss of the town is a high school football coach. Think of it as the movie Walking Tall, but a little more gritty. If you're under 40, then the version you remember of it is probably by The Rock. So anywho, Jason Aaron wrote this. Marvel has adapted it into the movie, and it's going to be awesome. Now, for you sleuths out there, you may be thinking, hey, I've actually seen this before. This isn't new. And you may have stumbled across this on the internet. It's What If issue #10 from 1978, and it's titled, What If Jane Foster Had Found the Hammer of Thor? So this may count as foreshadowing, but it was not considered canon. What If was just Marvel having some fun and kind of fan-fictionalizing their own stuff. So this wasn't considered real, whatever real means in comics, but the Lady Thor storyline that was introduced in 2014 is canon. Jane Foster had been a lone-going character in the Thor universe as a love interest. And I did like the casting of Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, but let's face it, the romantic subplot just was not working. Her and Chris Hemsworth just have no chemistry. So Zendaya and Tom Holland and Spider-Man, they're just oozing with chemistry. But Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman, they just look... It just wasn't working. It looked like they would rather been doing their taxes or watching grass grow. So by the time you get to Thor Ragnarok, she's not even in it, and they're like, what happened to Jane? But at the 2019 San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel came with the big gun and had the director of the Thor movies ceremoniously give the hammer of Thor to Natalie Portman, who is now Lady Thor. So this is when it was first announced, and people went nuts. So here we are 3 years later, and Natalie Portman crushed it in the gym. Did you see pictures of her? It looks incredible. She's never been this cut. I don't think people realize just how outstanding of an actress she is and how committed she is to her role. I also want to mention while I'm here, the villain of the movie is going to be GORR the God Butcher. This is another new character that was also written and created by Jason Aaron. The character is going to be played by the acclaimed method British actor Christian Bale. So Batman has made his way into the MCU. I made a video explaining GORR the God Butcher and who he is and what makes him tick. See the link in the description for that previous video as well. There was also a 5-issue miniseries called Unworthy Thor, which came out in 2016 and was written and created by Jason Aaron. Yep, that guy again. It came out in 2016 and it explained what was Thor doing when he was unworthy. Well, what he did was he went on a pursuit for another weapon. He gets help from Beta Ray Bill, who if he shows up in Thor Love and Thunder, I'm going to freak out. And we get a climax at the end where he has to battle Thanos. Of course, Thanos. So we may get a mashup of 3 different storylines in Love and Thunder. The Lady Thor origin, GORR the God Butcher origin, and of course, Unworthy Thor. The comic Unworthy Thor #1 was ranked as one of my top 20 comics of the 2010s. Once again, see the link in the description. So Thor Love and Thunder is not woke, it's canon, and it makes its debut in America on July the 8th, 2022. See you at the theater, it's going to be a blast. If you missed it in the theater, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is now available on Disney+. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. It's a great fantasy, sci-fi, magic-based horror action film which should hold up very good over time. It overcame some right-wing backlash about LGBT references and went on to make $950 million. I thought that Disney might encourage the theaters to let it stay a little bit longer so it could cross $1 billion. But I understand they had to free up those screens for Thor coming out July 8th. And you still need screens for Top Gun, Minions, Jurassic Park, and other blockbusters. So Doctor Strange 2 is Marvel's 28th film. It's on Disney+. Check it out if you missed it. And make sure you check out the end credit because you get the introduction of a very important Doctor Strange universe character. You know the drill. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so others learn about the Comic Power channel. And be sure to click on the bell for notifications. It will remind you when new videos come out. Be sure to watch some of my previous videos, such as my breakdown on America Chavez. This is the Latin teen female character that Doctor Strange has to save. I explained her comic book origin in this video, so it makes a little more sense when you watch the movie. Also, be sure to watch my other video about Kamala Khan, the new Miss Marvel, who has a Disney Plus show on right now. Thank you for watching Comic Power and tune in next time.